I'm doing here is presenting a tutorial on the use of Duik Bassal and animating a ghost walk. It was kind of a fun project for me and hope to get started. Basically just showing you how to rig a simple character, a simple biped character. What this project was ghost people. So I'm just having like a ghost people move across the screen in this old west town kind of thing, and so just basically I want to show you how to do it, and I'm learning how to do this at the same time. So I'm going to make quite a few mistakes, I'm sure, but ultimately what I want to show you is just a basic walk cycle, and this is like all the characters put together here. It's not how the final is going to look at all, but it just shows you that I was able to get everything, all the characters rigged and ready for a walk cycle. So let's get things started. So I imported my characters from Illustrator. I created it in Illustrator and brought it in as a composition, retain layer sizes. Now the trouble with that is I got a 1080 by 1920 composition, and it came in too small, so I need to bring everything, I need to scale everything up, but you can't do that in the individual layers without everything becoming distorted. So I just brought in a null layer, and I'm going to parent all the parts of the character to that null and just scale it all up in one scale. I think I forgot a piece there. Oh yeah, I forgot all the leg portions, and that would help. So we just scale everything at once, and it will look perfect. Okay, so I'm just kind of, all the layers are selected, and I'm just parenting them to the null. So I just found that 348 was probably the best size to start from, and really I probably should have started. I probably should have just nulled it and centered each character to the middle of the screen instead of to the far right, because it's not really going to matter ultimately. But that's what I chose to do, and I need to move the anchor points so everything is going to rotate and move correctly from, the anchor points where the joints are supposed to be, in the shoulder and elbow and wrist. And I'm going to have to do this for everything. I haven't learned if you can import this, if you can. I think you can do it in Illustrator, center all the points like that, but I don't know if they transfer over to After Effects, if the anchor point positions import over. I'll have to figure that out someday. But at this point, I'm just going to have to do this manually. So I just sped things up, so no reason to see every single anchor point. I think you get the picture. I think the main thing is to be close on this. This isn't a 100%, realistic figure, because some of these joints, may not work or rotate correctly, and they're going to kind of pop out unrealistically, especially in the hands and the feet, and probably the knees. But the way I'm doing this, it's not going to matter. Because this is going to be, the character is ultimately going to be blurred and moving quickly, and so you won't notice those problems. So you have to parent all your body parts in your Illustrator character, the head to the spine or the torso, the torso to the hips and the legs and so on, as usual. Going down to Duik Bassal. When you bring up Duik, you see all these little icons here, and this is the main screen that you want to start to be able to create your structure for your character. So you click on Hominoid here for basically your biped character. The second icon here is Links and Constraints. This is where you end up doing your auto rigging, some of your fine tuning, connecting. I don't know what a lot of these things are, because I haven't used them yet, but we'll get to some of these down the line. This is helpful too, orientation constraint. So you bring it up, and then you click on Create Structures, and then you click on Hominoid. Now Duik is doing its magic, and it's going to create the structure for it, with the arms and the legs and the spine. This takes a little bit. It populates your layers, and then here you have it. Let me bring it up so you can see it in this. I'm going to go back to another project where I didn't actually parent anything. Let's skip ahead here, and I just want to show you what I did. So if we're doing this from scratch, I want to show you that we got to move the whole entire structure rig to the areas of your character. And so then we just do it like this. Move the spine in the middle. And we're going to eventually go down the line here and just show you all the parts. Now I want to make sure that I've got the spine or the hips located right where the hips are at on the character, as well as in the torso. So I'm just seeing to make sure that it all kind of is positioned correctly, and then you need to move each of the character parts in position as well. And kind of shrink it down and make sure that that is kind of, the anchor point is in the right spot. And then you just move up. Like this is a little, like this in the torso is a little too low, and you need to bring it up a little bit closer. It's just tweaking and fine-tuning the whole thing. And this is where you're going to spend probably the most time doing this to get this right. Because this is important, so the character is going to, once it's rigged, it will actually move correctly. So I think this is like the spine, spine 1 and spine 2. You get that positioned in the torso. And I want the top portion to be connected to the head. Now this is actually the neck, and I kind of squished it down so it fits into the neck. So it's a very small part of the structure. And then the head, the spine tip is at the top of the head. Of course, in this case, it'll be like the top of the hat. All right, now I'm going to move one of the arms here, and it is a little tricky to get on this selector there on the hand. Let's click off that. And this is really tricky because it's hard to move. You have to move it in a very specific selector point in order to be able to click and drag it onto your character. Now, one thing I would suggest to not do that I did here is, you notice that I lined up all my, the arm pieces, the head pieces above your structure parts. Well, you can't really see it very well, because that way it's stacked on top of those. It's just best to keep everything from Duik in its own layer, in its own layers, and have your characters' layer parts in their own layers stacked at the bottom. This way you can see everything. Like with the spinal column here, you can see that it's above the character. I did that one correct. Now the hand and the wrist controllers are kind of out of place here too, so I need to adjust. And again, this is very specific. And now a mistake that I'm making here is actually just selecting the whole layer, which I couldn't figure out at the time. It's like it's selecting the layer dimensions or the scaling effect, let's say. And you shouldn't do that. It should just only select at the anchor point, like here. If that makes any sense. See, I couldn't figure this out. I mean, this was a mess. So after some finagling there, I realized what the issue was. I moved the whole entire leg. Now I just want to make sure that it is that the anchor points again are at the proper point on the thigh or on the knee. It shouldn't be too low, because if you do, then it's gonna it's going to distort the walk cycle of where your joints pop and pivot on their rotation points. So you want to really get this correct, particularly at the bottom of your toe tips or your heel tips. Get the blue portion on the farthest point of the tip of the foot. As well as on the heel. Okay, so everything has been lined up. The structure has been lined up according to the characters' body parts and so forth. The next step in our plan is to create the auto rig, and I will do that in the next tutorial.